Germany is becoming less attractive for expats, especially for high earners. And the upcoming healthcare reforms are not making things easier because Germany's public health insurance system is running out of money and the deficit is huge. We're talking about 15 billion euro gap the next year, which could potentially become 40 billion euro by 2030. So as a result of that deficit, you either pay more, get less, or both. And since the past couple of years, insurance premiums have been steadily increasing, but this time it's definitely different. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Essen, and on this channel we discuss how to build wealth in Germany. So you might be thinking, what's new? This is the same old story since many years. So let's start with the medication co-payments. Right now, most prescriptions cost you between 5 and 10 euro. But under the proposed changes, that becomes 7.5 euros to 15 euros per prescription, even 18 euros in some cases. This doesn't sound too much, right? And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Because small increases spread across everyday things are barely noticeable until they stack up. Honestly speaking, some of you might not even care about this. I, for example, have gotten only one prescription in the past 10 years. Just one. And every single time I went to the physician when I was sick, you know what he said? Yeah, it's okay, you are young. Just drink some tea, have some rest, and you'll be fit. Every single time. Even that prescription was a private prescription where I had to pay the full medicine costs. But things can always change. Think about it. If you rely regularly on medicine, have children, or if someone in your household has a chronic condition, that's not one payment. It's every single month. But it gets more serious because prescriptions are just the beginning. Right now, Germany has one of the strongest worker protections in Europe. If you get sick, you receive 100% of your salary for up to 6 weeks. After that, health insurance steps in and you get between 70 to 90% of your net salary up to 78 weeks within a 3 years period, which is an amazing safety net. And most people don't think about it until they need it. But this is exactly where reforms are targeting next. There are now discussions around something called a Katzentag, a waiting day, which means your first sick day could become unpaid. At first glance, it sounds like a very small policy tweak, but it changes your behavior in a big way. Because now, every time you wake up sick, there's a decision to make. Do I stay home and lose money, or do I go to work anyway? The idea behind this proposal is simple. If being sick costs you money, fewer people will call in sick. From an economic perspective, it makes sense. But from a human perspective, it's a different story. And right now, you might be thinking, okay, but how often does this really happen? But that's the wrong question. Because the real issue isn't how often you're sick. It's what happens when you are. On top of that, the plan proposes that sick pay be capped at 65% of gross salary. And related to that, the child sick pay when parents cannot work because their child is sick and needs care should be capped at 85% of net income. And this is where things go further. Another proposal suggests that employees would only have to pay full sick salary once per year and not per long-term sickness. So if you get sick again later that same year, you drop straight into reduced sick pay. No 6 weeks protection, just an immediate income hit. This is what I call the safety net illusion, because the system still exists, but it stops protecting you when you actually need it the most. When people hear about coaching programs, their first response is usually, why would I work with another human being when I can watch YouTube videos all on my own? Working with a coach is about amplifying your time and effort. We're great at wanting things and even making some progress, but we usually struggle with follow through or have some kind of setback. And that's exactly where working with a coach can help. Coaches provide personalized support to help you set appropriate goals, make progress, and even work through setbacks. Check out the link in the description below to see if coaching is right for you. So one of the most generous parts of the German system has always been family insurance. If your spouse doesn't work or earn very little like a mini job, they can be insured for free under your plan. For many families, this isn't just a benefit. It's part of how financial life is structured. But that's under review now as well. According to the new austerity measures, most spouses who were previously covered for free may have to start paying contributions. Not everyone though, but still a large majority. Certain groups like parents with young children would still be protected. But for many households, this introduces something new, a cost where there wasn't one before. And this is where the German expectations break, because you didn't plan for this. You built your budget around the idea that this part of the system was fixed. Turns out it isn't. And then there are the changes you won't notice immediately, but they matter just as much. Because not every reform shows up as a higher bill. Some show up as something missing. Services that used to be covered certainly aren't. Things like homeopathy, certain screening exams, and preventive services. These aren't always the most expensive part of the system, but they do signal something very big. A shift in philosophy. From we cover broadly to we cover what we think we can afford. And I think that line will keep on moving. Please hit the like button if you're getting value from this video, hit the hype button if you see it, and consider subscribing. So when you zoom out, a pattern appears. This isn't just about one reform or one policy change. It's a structural shift from a system that absorbs risks to one that distributes it back to you. And this is what I call the responsibility shift, where healthcare doesn't disappear, but your share of the burden keeps increasing over time. But here's what most expats completely underestimate. As an expat in Germany, this has a different effect because healthcare isn't just a service. It's one of the core pillars of your financial security here in Germany. You don't just rely on it for emergencies. You rely on it for predictable expenses, income protection, family coverage, and long-term stability. So when the system changes, it's not just a policy, it's a personal finance issue that shows up in three places. Number one, your monthly budget with higher co-pays, potential new contributions, and more out-of-pocket costs. Number two, your risk exposure. Less income protection when sick and more financial pressure during unexpected events. And number three, your long-term planning. Uncertainty around what's covered, around future costs, and uncertainty around dependence. And this is where most people hesitate because none of this is guaranteed yet. These are just proposals, discussions, possible reforms. So it's easy to just ignore everything. But that's exactly the mistake, because by the time these changes are fully implemented, you don't adjust, you just react. And reacting is always more expensive. So what should you do? Now is not the time to panic. And it's not about assuming the system will collapse. Germany's healthcare system isn't disappearing, but it is evolving. And the smart move is simply to start treating healthcare as a variable cost, not a fixed one. Build a buffer in your budget, understand your coverage, and most importantly, don't assume that what's true today will still be true 5 years from now. Thankfully, for some of you, there is a choice that can save you thousands of euros over the next few years, as I share in this video. And in this video, we discuss, is now the right time to leave Germany?